A man with purple skin sat there in his chair. I don't think he needs any introduction at this point. You all likely know who Fu is, and if you don't, you've got a whole overarching plot to catch up with. Today, Fu had someone helping him with this experiment, and it wasn't Madara. Eren Jaeger stood there by his side, watching this all unfold, his eyes narrowing at the screen. "I don't understand," he said. "You gave him a twin, but I don't see how this furthers our goals. This doesn't test his power, and this doesn't give us any sort of advantage. Why?" Fu looked back at Eren. "It does give us an advantage. I can absorb energy from these universes when they're created. They become like batteries. In most cases, I normally erase them from existence and absorb their power directly. The ones I have a soft spot for, I allow to continue existing and become a long-term resource. Less energy at a single time, yes, but it keeps producing regardless." "Is that the only reason you're doing this then?" Eren asked. "For energy? Why not do this with a universe that does more to help us rather than watching this?" Fu let out a bit of a sigh. "I would think you would understand the power of bonds, Eren. After all, are your motives so secretive that you assume I don't know about them? Your whole rumbling plan, the plan with the Golgotha Object, it was all to create a world where none of the horrible things that happened ever would. You wanted to turn it all into some movie on a screen that you and your friends could watch. You did everything for your friends." Eren was startled to know that Fu knew his deepest secrets. Fu paused the what if and turned around. "There's no need to be afraid, Eren. I knew all of this before I recruited you. If you think I'm some sort of evil bastard who's only in it for world domination and the destruction of everything, you're mistaken." "Then what are you in it for?" Fu smiled. "I'm in it for freedom." The word caused Eren's ear to twitch a little. "Freedom." Fu nodded. "The freedom to do as I please, experiment as I please, and learn all that there is to know. If you think you're my minion, you're not. You're simply my intern. I saved your life, and all I ask is that you use your strength to help me free myself in the Time War. You and Madara both. Should, after that comes, you wish to return to your world, I will gladly return you, no strings attached. I'll even return you to a world that you get to craft yourself. But until that time, we experiment. I wish to understand more the power of bonds. It seems that there's a secret power within the soul that offers unique strength if certain conditions are met, not too unlike hysterical strength. A unique strength I wish to study a little. It could be all the difference between victory and defeat." Fu turned around and told Eren to sit down with him. Eren would do so. And then they continued viewing the world of Naruto if he had a twin brother. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed, and with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Naruto woke up early in the morning. Normally, on days he would go to the academy, he'd wake up early anyway, but today was different. He woke up extra early. Out of bed like a flash, Naruto ran to his bathroom to freshen up. A shower, a quick brushing of his teeth, mouthwash, he even flossed. He pulled out all the stops to make himself as presentable as possible. He even ran to his closet and grabbed his cleanest and best shirt, jacket, and matching pants, as well as sandals he had yet to wear in hopes that they wouldn't smell funky. As soon as he had them on, he ran to the kitchen where he grabbed the keys he'd left sitting on the nearest table to the door. Once he'd grabbed everything he needed, he rushed on out. With all the excitement pumping through his veins, Naruto leapt from building to building. He was headed to a side of town he rarely visited. At least, a side he rarely visited before. Now he visited there all the time. It's where Menma lived. The sun had hardly begun to rise, and they were still somewhere in the twilight between night and day, but all the same, Naruto couldn't have been more awake. He rushed to a certain apartment that he recognized and beat upon the door. He waited for a moment and then beat upon the door again to no answer. "Menma, it's me! Open the door!" he shouted. He beat upon the door once more, but halfway through his set of 4, he heard the sound of a lock turning. The door opened and a messy-haired boy appeared. "What is it, Naruto?" he asked, obviously in a negative mood. "Good morning," Naruto said with the widest smile on his face. He held out a package of s'mores-flavored breakfast pastries. "Guess who brought breakfast?" Menma looked at the nearby clock. "I wasn't planning to get up for another 30 minutes. Naruto continued to smile. He didn't respond to Menma's statement on plans. Naruto was neither for or against them. What mattered was sharing a breakfast with his brother. Menma scoffed as a smile formed over his face. He opened the door. "Come on in then." Naruto walked in. As they sat there and began to eat, Naruto spoke. "So, are you excited? Today's your first day at the academy with me. I talked with the schoolmaster, and he said if I can get you up to speed quickly enough this week, he'll give you a test early to let you officially catch up to me." Menma smiled through partially closed eyes. "I don't know how you're gonna catch me up in a week. There's so much I've missed." "Well, that's the thing. If you've done any form of schooling, a lot of that counts, as most schools teach the things you require to be a shinobi anyway, save a few extra things that the academy focuses on. If I can get you up to speed on those things, you'll be able to catch up easy. And hey, if I can't get you up to speed this week, there's always next week." Menma yawned again. "I guess that's true. I don't want to cause you any trouble though," he said. Naruto waved it off. "Don't worry about it. Any excuse I can get to spend time with my favorite brother is welcome." The two continued to eat their pastries until they'd finished. Naruto spoke. "All right, go get ready for your big day." Naruto would park it on the couch and watch the television as his brother prepared for the day. Coming out of the steaming bathroom, Menma seemed as though he had finally woke up. He did a few stretches to get his body ready for the unusual movements that they'd be doing today. Naruto turned off the television and opened the door to the balcony. "All right, let's make our way to the academy," he said. He jumped from the balcony onto the next rooftop. Menma tried as well, although he fell into the trash cans on the ground below. Naruto looked over, realizing that Menma's jump hadn't even been half the length of his own. Catching Menma up might not be as easy as I thought. Naruto and a now slightly dirty Menma walked into the academy just as it was opening, being the first people there. Naruto and Menma would sit down in the classroom and wait. As they did so, they watched as all the kids filed into the room one by one. Naruto was sitting in the back row in his chair, feet kicked up on the desk. Menma was sitting in the chair beside him, all prim and proper. As the kids showed up, Shikamaru walked past. Ugh, now there's two of him. What a drag. Naruto pulled his eyelid down and stuck a tongue out of his grinning face. As they waited, eventually Hiruzen walked into the room. "Good morning, class," he said. "Good morning, Lord Hokage," all the kids replied. Hiruzen smiled and spoke. "I just wanted to say that the passing of Irika-sensei has been quite hard. Hard on you and hard on us here at the school as well. It was a tragic thing, but he died a true hero, saving the life of one of our own and stopping a missing nin. Later, that same student proved their worth by taking Mizuki down. It was a surprise to find that another teacher could have such malice in their hearts. But if anything good came of this, it was that I got the chance to spend time with you and explain many of the ninjutsu that I know. It made me feel pleased to share these things with you, but even still, I only filled the spot as a substitute. So sadly, it's time that I return to my duties as Hokage." There was an audible sound of disappointment from the class, something that secretly warmed Hiruzen's heart. It made him feel happy to know that they'd miss him. "It's okay, children. I will still show up every once in a while to help your new permanent teacher give you a proper education. Speaking of your permanent teacher, I'd like to call them in." Hiruzen waved the new teacher in. A man with a somewhat wide face and a strange hat. Was it actually a hat or a mask? Not too unlike that worn by the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, came in. "This is Yamato. He's going to be filling in as the next teacher. I hope you will offer him all the same respect that you would have offered Irika and myself." Hiruzen turned to Yamato and said something that Naruto couldn't hear, getting a nod from Yamato. Hiruzen then smiled. He walked to the door. "I'll see you later, children. Please mind your new sensei. Goodbye." The kids all let out a resounding goodbye to the Hokage. Yamato watched as Hiruzen left. He then faced the students. "It's a pleasure to meet you all. I know I'm not the same as Irika, but I plan to try and keep the schedule he laid out for us." He walked to the desk and found some papers. He lifted one up. "Oh, and it seems as though we have a new student today." He looked up at Menma. "I see you're as new as I am. I suppose we'll have to get used to this class together then. Why don't you come down and introduce yourself?" Menma seemed nervous, but Naruto gave him a thumbs up. "You got this, bro." Menma smiled and stood. He then walked down the stairs to the front of the class. He looked at the class for a second like a deer in headlights. He then looked to Yamato, who spoke. "It's okay, just tell everyone your name, maybe some things you like, and perhaps any dreams for the future you have." Menma nodded and cleared his throat. Well, My name is Menma Uzumaki. I'm Naruto's brother. Some things that I enjoy are ramen with fermented bamboo shoots. I like video games. He thought about it for a moment. I've got a Ninja Tube channel where I've been trying to break the world record for the 16-star run of Super Minato 64. So far, I can do it in a little over 15 minutes. This seemed to pique the interests of the other kids in the class. Menma then spoke. As for any dreams, I haven't really thought of anything. I recently decided to become a shinobi in an attempt to get closer to my brother. So the future and my dreams are all really far off, but I guess right now I just want to be a good shinobi, help the village, and be friends with my brother. I hope to be friends with all of you, too. Menma then offered a bit of a bow of kindness to them. There were murmurs from the kids in the class. Yamato offered a gentle pat to Menma's back. That was a nice introduction, Menma. You can return to your seat now. Menma then proceeded to climb the stairs again to sit beside Naruto. Yamato smiled. As for myself, I enjoy history, particularly anything about the first Hokage. From autobiographies to any sort of historical book about him, I am interested to read it. As for my dreams, they're quite simple. I hope to help raise the next generation to be as great, if not better, shinobi than the previous. There's nothing better than knowing that your village will become better and better with each passing generation. It's my pleasure to teach you. He then walked to the podium and he looked out over the class. Okay, for today, it looks like you were planning to read chapter 4 from the Shinobi Handbook. So if you will, all of you turn to page 32. Shikamaru, you will read the first paragraph. After this, Naruto and Menma would be let out of school. So now that we're going to be spending all week studying, let's just stay at my house. I've got a trundle on my bed, so it'll be easier to get as much training in as possible. And then when we're not training, we need to take some time to process what we learned. We can play some video games. I got Super Minato 64 too, and I even have the sequel, Super Minato Starshine. Menma thought about it. I don't know. I had some other things I thought I would do. Naruto was silent for a moment before stopping Menma. Menma looked back to see a look on Naruto's face that said he was really upset, almost to the point of tears. Whether he was really that hurt that Menma wouldn't hang out with him, or overplaying it a bit to make his brother more likely to agree, Menma didn't know, but whatever it was working. I know you probably got other stuff to do, but I never got to spend a night with a family member before. It's always so quiet in my house, Naruto said. Menma closed his eyes and thought about it. Naruto spoke. I mean, if you'd be more comfortable at your house, I can always come over to your apartment and bunk, or do you not want that? Menma shook his head and caved. It's okay, Naruto. Nothing I can't reschedule. I can come spend a week with you, but we need to stop at my place first and collect a few things. Naruto's excited disposition returned. Wonderful, Naruto shouted as he jumped up and down with a laugh. Let's go! He grabbed Menma's hand and basically dragged him through the streets. As they ran, Menma called out, "Slow down!" Naruto looked back with a smirk. If you want to be a shinobi, you gotta learn how to move fast. The best way to learn to control your body is to actually use it. If you want to know how to run like a shinobi, then what you gotta learn is how to run like a Menma first. Naruto stopped for a moment. I'll tell you what, let's race. Your front door's the finish line. Since you're not too good at roof jumping yet, let's stay on the ground. It'll be more interesting anyway. More people as obstacles. Shortcuts are allowed. So, what do you say? Menma thought about it for a moment. Naruto nudged up next to him. It'll be good training. You want to be a shinobi, right? Menma nodded. Naruto smiled. Alright. He got up next to Menma. I'm gonna limit myself to the ground for now since I don't want to feel like a cheater by going all out, but you're free to do whatever tricks you want. Use those speedrunning tricks against me. I doubt a BLJ would work in real life, Menma said. You never know. Might be able to turn it into a ninjutsu. So, get ready. They both got down, preparing to sprint. On your mark, get set. They waited for a moment. Someone in the distance accidentally dropped and shattered a flower pot. Go! Naruto shouted. They suddenly began to dash forward. As they raced as fast as they could, Naruto was surprised with how fast Menma actually was. He had high stamina and could keep the sprint up, likely because he too was an Uzumaki and a Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, which meant he had virtually limitless chakra reserves. As they ran, they made it into the market area. Naruto saw the people coming up and smiled. Smell you later, Menma, he said as he suddenly dashed down an alleyway to hopefully find a less congested street. Menma kept it up though. He decided that the best thing to do was to simply dodge. He saw a group of people coming up and he knew that he had to go around them, so he decided to run along the wall for a little bit where it would be safer. Or so he had hoped. As exciting as it was, he seemed to forget his limits. Instead, he jumped on the wall, tripped a bit, and remembered that he couldn't control the chakra on the bottoms of his feet yet, causing him to fall from the wall. Roll. The crash was fantastic. Naruto sat there against the wall to the door of Menma's apartment. He looked at his watch. He had arrived there about 15 minutes earlier. He had expected that he'd probably get there first, but he didn't think Menma would take this long. Was he really that out of shape? It wasn't much longer than that Menma showed up. "What's the holdup, slowpoke?" Naruto asked before realizing how beat up Menma was. He was covered in scratches and was currently holding his arm. Naruto did a double take. "Whoa, what happened to you?" Menma shrugged as his entire body popped from the fall. "I beefed." Naruto looked him over. "Give me your key." Naruto would unlock the door and lead them both in. Escorting Menma to the bathroom, he decided to put those first aid lessons from the academy to good use. "Tell me, where does it hurt?" he asked. "Everywhere," Menma said. "Haha, very funny. What I mean is, does your arm feel broken? Does anything feel broken?" Menma shook his head. "My arm hurts and it's hard to move, but nothing else feels broken." Naruto nodded. He began to run his hand along the bones in Menma's arm to check for breaks and cracks. "I don't feel anything wrong, though it does look like your shoulder might be out of socket," he said. "Uh-oh," Menma said, knowing what would happen next. Naruto pulled out a wash rag and stuffed it into Menma's mouth. "Don't bite off your tongue, please." He then grabbed Menma's arm and quickly pulled it out and pushed it back with a horrific pop. "Don't try this at home, kids. Naruto's not actually a doctor, and neither is the writer. Visit a real doctor if your shoulder ever pops out of place." Menma was sitting on a chair in the bathroom as Naruto was dabbing some alcohol on his scratches. "I guess I just bit off more than I could chew," Menma said. Naruto continued to work, focusing on making sure everything was clean. "It happens to me all the time. Don't worry about it," he said. Menma then spoke again. "I don't know, but when I was running at full bore, I felt so alive. Like speed was my birthright. Have you ever felt that way before?" Naruto continued to work as he spoke. "I don't know. I like the freedom of running fast, but I've never been so interested in doing that. Must be something unique to your personality." Menma then spoke. "I just feel so good when I go fast. It's like I'm squeezing out every ounce of my potential. Like everything I could possibly do, everything I can be is all laid out on the table. Like I can truly measure my progress through my speed. I've always been like that. It's why I speedrun games." Naruto finished cleaning the wounds. "Maybe it's because our father was the same way. It's no coincidence that your favorite game is Super Minato 64. With all those BLGs, it almost feels as though you were born to inherit his special move, the Flying Raijin. Speed so fast it warps space and time, literally teleporting you to a new location." "How do I learn that technique?" Menma asked. Naruto shrugged. "I recall seeing it in the Scroll of Seals, but I didn't dare study it. I was just looking for shadow clones. I want to learn it. I want that to be the technique I graduate with." "It's super high level, Menma. Are you sure you want to do it? I read that almost nobody but Dad could use it by themselves." "I really want to try, at least," he said. Naruto shrugged. "Well, I guess before we head back to my place, we can stop by Hiruzen's and ask if he can give us the scroll to try and learn it. Don't get your hopes up, though. That scroll is, like, super valuable." And so, Menma and Naruto packed up some supplies so Menma would have enough to wear for the week, on top of any other items he might need. After leaving, they stopped by the Hokage's office. They didn't have an appointment, but the good news was that the Hokage was free. They entered the old man's office to see him tending to a bonsai he had kept on a coffee table, offering it some water and a couple trims to keep it properly kept. "Welcome, Naruto and Menma," he said. "To what do I owe this visit?" "Menma wanted to ask you something." Hiruzen looked up. "And what would that be, Menma?" Menma then spoke. "Can we have the Scroll of Seals?" "Darn it," he said. Menma stood there silently for a moment. Hiruzen looked up. "The Scroll of Seals. I can't really give that to you." "Why do you want it anyway?" "I wanted to try and learn the Flying Raijin technique. I want to use it as the technique I graduate with." Hiruzen heard this and was completely taken aback. Minato had one time asked the same thing of Hiruzen. "That sounds like a wonderful goal. However, that technique is very hard to master. Even I haven't mastered it to the same degree that Minato had." Menma nodded in understanding. "I just wish to attempt it, sir. I acknowledge the chance that I may fail, but I'd rather try and fail than never try at all." Hiruzen stood. "You know, those are the same words that your father said to me when he wanted me to give him the opportunity to learn the technique." So, does that mean we can borrow the Scroll of Seals? Menma asked. Hiruzen laughed. No way. Menma was shocked. No, but I thought you said our father tried to learn it too. I did, Hiruzen said, but he never asked for the Scroll of Seals. Hiruzen walked to his own private library and began to search for the proper scroll. He pulled one out. Here, this would be better for you. It possesses instruction to utilize the Flying Raijin and isn't quite as dangerous to give out as the Scroll of Seals. The chances are anyway that if anyone ever got a hold of this scroll outside of Konoha, they likely wouldn't be able to use it. The only ones I think would have the prowess to use it are the shinobi of Kumogakure, since lightning style is kind of their thing. He brought the scroll over and handed it to Menma. I would state my doubts that you could ever learn such a thing, but then again, your father up and surprised me too. If you have even half of his potential, then I have no doubt you can learn this. Menma took the scroll. Thank you, Lord Hiruzen. Hiruzen put his hand on Menma's shoulder and raised an index finger. Now, I'm telling you this so you understand. I'm not giving you this scroll. I'm lending it to you. You are to take care of it, give it to nobody else, and return it to me once you're finished. Do you understand? The sudden pressure of responsibility lowered down onto Menma's shoulders, making him feel as though he'd be hated forever by Hiruzen if he failed. However, he knew that all he could do was try his best. It was, after all, a great honor to be given a scroll of this caliber by what could be the strongest shinobi in the world. He smiled. I will try, he said. Hiruzen waggled his finger. No, you will not try, you will do. Menma's smile became a bit more awkward before recovering brightly with a nod. Of course. I won't fail you, Lord Hiruzen. Hiruzen smiled. Good. You may go now. And so Naruto and Menma left. Sitting down at his desk, Hiruzen chuckled, knowing that all he had done was given them a copy of a copy. It wasn't even that valuable. This should teach them responsibility, he said. He sat there and watched them leave the building. The two walked the streets until they returned home. The sun was getting really low, so the first thing they did upon getting to Naruto's apartment was get something to eat. Naruto had 2 cups of a very special ramen he'd been saving for an occasion, a special flavor he had seen quite some time ago. I was honestly saving this flavor for my first date with Sakura, whenever that happened, Naruto said as he opened them up and began pouring water in. The proper word to be used in that sentence is if, Menma said. He had only known Sakura for 1 day and already knew she was not a fan of Naruto. After washing up, they sat down to eat. However, upon taking the first bite, Menma slowed. You, said you'd been saving these for a while. How long is a while? Naruto looked at the flavor. It was when this flavor was getting ready to be taken off the market. And when did that happen? Menma asked. About 4 years ago. Menma pushed his ramen away. I don't think it's safe for us to eat this anymore, Naruto. Naruto shook his head. Nonsense. Ramen cups never go bad. Ugh, was the only sound coming out of the bathroom as Menma stood there holding a roll of toilet paper. I told you not to eat it. A couple moments passed and the sink was heard running. Naruto then stepped out, holding his stomach. I'm gonna need to check your food stock, Menma said. You keep going at this rate and I wouldn't put it past you to get botulism. Naruto stopped for a moment, his stomach making an unholy sound. He quickly turned around and re-entered the bathroom, closing the door behind him. Eventually, Naruto cleared his system out. By this time, though, it was close to midnight. Menma had been going over the food that Naruto had, checking the expiration dates. As it turned out, Naruto never cleaned out his pantry, and this meant that pretty much half the food in there was dangerous. Another quarter was expired and still edible, and the last quarter was still good, but getting dangerously close to expiration. Furthermore, Naruto's pantry was about 75% ramen noodles, with the other quarter being canned veggies and meat. We're going shopping tomorrow. I'm not even sure how you're still alive, and no, we're not getting more ramen. I'm surprised your body hasn't seized up yet from lack of nutrition. Naruto sat down with Menma and attempted to open another cup of ramen. Menma pulled it away from him. No, didn't you just hear anything I said? That ramen's been outdated for 1.5 years anyway. He threw that also into the bag. Naruto sighed. Sorry, I'm just hungry. Menma stood and opened the pantry doors again. After what you just ate, you need something good for you. Here's some canned fruit I found. Eat this or I think you're gonna develop scurvy. You mean I'll become a pirate? You'll wish that's what would happen if you develop scurvy, Menma said. He continued to clean out the cabinet. My brother's gonna get rickets. They didn't have much time to do any real studying that night. The next day, they went to the academy to continue. Menma attempted to catch up on the Shinobi Handbook while he waited, and due to his quick speed reading ability, he was able to catch up to chapter 4 before Yamato even got there. That day, they continued learning about chakra and its effects on the body. After the bell rang for the final time, they were allowed to leave. Menma and Naruto would leave the academy and begin to make their way home, but not before they stopped by the supermarket where they would begin to fill a buggy with what they needed. Okay, Menma began. He looked down at the list. We're only getting main food groups here, Naruto. We need to get you more fruits, veggies, and dairy. Can we get ramen? You've got ramen at home. I also saw way too much candy. So we're only getting what will actually keep you alive today. They went about buying these things. Considering that Menma didn't really trust Naruto to cook anything harsh himself, he decided to go with bag stuff. All in all, Naruto was helping Menma get on the exercise train, while Menma was helping Naruto get on the diet train. These two things together would ensure that both Naruto and Menma lived a happy, healthy life, full of energy and possessing great strength, essential for what it meant to be a shinobi. Once they paid for their groceries, they headed home. Carrying all those bags by themselves was a tall order, to which the boys both got tired quite quickly, but upon getting home, they proceeded to finally get to work studying. After supper had come and gone, they studied a bit more, just to make sure Menma had really caught up on the scholastic side of things. But there was still much that Menma did not know, and it was up to Naruto to teach him. Bringing him out back, Naruto began to demonstrate. He walked up the side of the wall as if it were nothing, standing there horizontally as if gravity had simply shifted for him. See, it's really easy, Naruto said. Shinobi are people who are gifted at molding chakra. They can easily do that from the tenketsu on their hands or on the soles of their feet. Some clans have a special ability, a Kekkei Genkai, which can grant many different abilities. But one Kekkei Genkai used by the Hyuga allows them to control chakra from every tenketsu in their body. Theoretically, that means they can create ninjutsu from any and all surfaces on their body. But that would require the ability to create ninjutsu without hand signs, which is both rare and hard to do. That is interesting, Naruto, but how do I do what you're doing right now? Naruto smiled. Simple. Flow your chakra to the soles of your feet, he said. Swirl it around in an uzumaki pattern toward the center of your feet. If you keep doing that, it serves like a suction cup. Do it over water and you can actually stand on the surface of it. Want to try? Menma nodded. Naruto walked back down. Okay, first steps first. You can't just use any level of chakra. If you use too little, you'll fall off. Use too much and you'll shatter the surface you're trying to stand on and repel yourself off. You gotta find the in-between. I can help you if you want. Naruto leaned forward. Lay on my back. Menma laid back on Naruto's hunched back. Naruto slowly began to push Menma closer to the surface. Now, start increasing the volume of the chakra on the bottoms of your feet until I can't pull you away from the wall. Menma did as Naruto asked. After getting set up, Naruto would then start walking away from the wall. There would be some resistance, but not enough to stop Naruto from pulling Menma off. You're close. Increase the chakra just a bit more, Naruto said. He once more pushed Menma closer to the wall. Suddenly, Menma and Naruto were ejected forward. Naruto stumbled and fell over, and Menma rolled off his back. Oh my gosh, Naruto, are you okay? He asked. Naruto managed to get back up on his knees. He gripped his mouth as a little blood dripped. Menma looked on with concern. Are you okay? Naruto reached inside his mouth, grabbed something, and pulled it out. It was a tooth. Menma was shocked. Naruto? Naruto waved it off. Don't worry about it. This was my last baby tooth. Troublesome little bastard. I was gonna have to go to the dentist anyway to get it yanked. Now I can cancel the appointment. Anyway, you used too much chakra. Try to find the middle. Now, time for you to try and climb the wall yourself, Naruto said. Menma took a deep breath. This would be harder, as not only was he going to have to get this perfect, but he'd have to quickly switch out how much chakra he was using on each foot to ensure he could run across the surface without tripping or falling. Menma tried to hype himself up. He then ran toward the surface of the wall. He began to climb it quite easily. It seemed as if all his practice was beginning to pay off. However, as he was standing there, an intense burn began to light in his stomach and on his back, as well as in the backs of his legs. Suddenly, he fell back a bit, finding himself hanging upside down by his feet. Naruto caught him. Yeah, I forgot to warn you about that. Walking up the side of a building and standing in place takes a lot more strength from different muscles. You might need to develop them a bit more, but you got what you required. Keep doing this every day and follow the training regimen I've set up, and you should quite easily build up the strength to do these things. And so they continued to train for quite some time, until the end of the week as promised. During that time, they trained hard, played hard, ate hard, and slept hard. Everything they did to the extreme to ensure that they made the most of their time together. And so, as the last day came, they woke up bright and early. "Today's the big day," Naruto said. "It's the day that you'll get to take the test. If you pass, you'll officially be at mine and the others' level. That means when the final exams come around, you'll be free to graduate with the rest of us." Menma nodded. He seemed quite nervous. Naruto put his hands upon Menma's shoulders. "You'll do fine, and even if it takes you a little longer, it's gonna be okay." Menma smiled. Yeah. And so they made it to school that day. Everything went well. Then, as everyone was being let out, the academy's headmaster would keep Menma back to offer him a test. Menma would eventually come out of the room. Naruto, who'd been sitting in the hall, would immediately stand up and rush toward him. "Menma, did you pass?" Menma was silent for a moment. Naruto grew worried. He was already preparing his words to help Menma. You know, you can always take it next week if you failed. There's no shame in that. I've failed plenty of times." Menma raised a piece of paper. It said 89%. The passing grade was 70. "I passed," Menma said, before his face lit up with a smile. Naruto jumped around with Menma as Yamato stood there and watched, a smile forming upon his face. "Congratulations, Menma. You've earned this." Naruto spoke. "We're gonna have to go out and eat. Then maybe we'll spend some time together tonight. Have one last sleepover to celebrate." Menma nodded, and so the two of them went out to eat together, celebrating and having one heck of a time together. After this, though, they would head back to Naruto's apartment where they would play video games all night until they couldn't stay awake any longer. The two got into bed, Naruto sleeping on the top bunk and Menma sleeping in the trundle below. Fu sat in his chair, getting ready to fast forward to a better moment. That was until something showed up on his cameras. At 3:33 a.m., as Naruto turned over, something appeared in their room. Its appearance was unexplained. How it got there was unknown. "What is that?" Eren asked, unfamiliar. At first, Fu was tempted to say it was Obito, but by the look of it, the strange appearance was unlike Kamui. It came to the foot of Naruto's bed and looked down at him like a specter. Neither Naruto nor Menma knew it was there. That was until the figure reached out, a hand as pale as death, and rested it on Naruto's stomach for a moment. That was until his grip grew tighter, tight enough to wake Naruto up. Naruto blinked for a moment and looked down to see the figure. He was startled but suddenly paralyzed. He couldn't move. That was when a pulse of energy exited from the hand of the hooded figure. Naruto's body seized. His movements, along with a scream, woke Menma, who saw the figure and panicked. What looked like blood, or no, sealing fluid began to pour from Naruto's mouth. "That's not supposed to be there," Fu said as he stood. This was just like last time. Someone else was messing around in his experiments. Fu would then teleport out just as Eren was about to ask what he was doing. Fu appeared in Naruto's room, his appearance startling Menma further. The hooded figure jumped out of the nearby window and began to run from the scene. Fu couldn't let this go. Not again. He needed to know who was meddling around in his experiments. He chased after. Menma then ran to Naruto to help. It was then that he saw the seal on Naruto's stomach had been compromised. A thick, red chakra began to envelop him, burning Menma's hands. It was then that Menma saw the look in Naruto's eyes, an evil gaze, a mouth full of razor-sharp teeth. The nine-tailed demon fox. His chakra began to build up as he quickly became version 2. He was accelerating quickly, and Menma couldn't stop it. Just as the nine tails burst out of Naruto's body, another person appeared in the room and grabbed Menma before teleporting him. Menma landed in the control room. Eren had grabbed him. Menma was shocked. What was going on had his head spinning. He looked up around the room for a moment. There he saw hundreds of timelines. He saw Naruto. He saw Goku. He saw so many versions of his world titled Experiments. "What is this place?" Menma asked. Eren grabbed him by the jaw and turned his gaze back to him. "Disregard everything and focus on what's important," he said. "Your brother just turned into the nine-tailed demon fox, and only you can stop him." Menma looked into the main monitor to see the nine tails demolishing the village. "So many people are dying," Menma said. "No, not yet," Eren said. "What you see is a possible future, but you can change it now, so long as you set your mind on stopping your brother." "How do I do that?" Menma asked. "Within you is the nine tails," he said. Half of the beast possessing your brother is also in you. Just as your Ninetales is connected to his, you can hijack that connection to connect with your brother. Free him from himself and reseal the beast. If you do so, you'll save the village. If you fail, everyone you care about, including Naruto, will die. Do you understand me? Menma was shaking. Eren shook him to get his attention. Fight! You must fight. Don't stop. Set your mind on what it is you're doing, and keep moving forward regardless of the consequence. Fight! Fight! Suddenly, Eren dropped Menma back in Konoha. The apartment where Naruto and he had lived for the past week was all but gone. The Ninetales was thrashing about. Eren would look at Menma and reach out his hand, utilizing the merged power of the Titans and the first angel to help Menma enter his own mindscape, where, through the Ninetales sealed within him, he opened a door into Naruto's mindscape. Fu continued to chase the cloaked figure. Get back here, he demanded. Reaching out, he used a ki blast to set fire to the area around him, creating a ring of fire. The hooded being turned back. Who are you? Fu asked. The being remained silent. These are my experiments you've been messing with. You think I'm just going to let you get away with it? He rushed forward, pulling his time cutter and beginning to slice at the man, splitting time and space with every swing. As he readied his final strike, he was surprised when the figure pulled out an identical time cutter, though its appearance seemed more faded. Despite that, the blade possessed all the same amount of power that Fu's had. Fu stepped back and roared into his Super Saiyan form, his white hair spiking up a little. He raised his hand into a half-ram symbol, ready to cast any ninjutsu at any time. The hooded figure stood there silently, blade still held loosely in its hand. It then rushed at Fu. As it struck, Fu disappeared with a substitution jutsu. There, he cast fireball jutsu on the man, setting his cape on fire. The man didn't seem to be bothered by it as his entire body went up in flames. The cloaked warrior struck out at Fu. This was a terrifying sight, like a demon from hell had crept up to kill him. However, Fu's skill was great, greater than the being he was facing. He managed to release a wind-style gale palm. This completely blew away the cloak, and what Fu saw after this really startled him. Standing before him was himself. However, he was different. Pale as death, gray as a ghost. Everything about him seemed monochrome, like he'd been washed in a black and white filter. Even then, there was more about him that was different. He was expressionless, his eyes emotionless, like in a trance. He spoke in a plain, emotionless, monotone voice. You interfered in the experiment. Now the results are useless. Fu couldn't bring himself to speak, only to fight back. He brought everything he could against this guy, including the awakening of his Rinne Sharingan. Activating the Ashura path, Fu began to fire missiles at this pale clone. It strode forward toward him. Just as a missile would explode where the ghost had been, it would teleport away. Fu would fire again, but the figure would once more disappear. Eventually, it appeared right before him and struck out at him. Its physical strength was enough to push him back. This was startling. It wasn't even using Super Saiyan. What are you? Fu demanded to know. The ghostly image spoke. I am you, and like you, neither of us should exist. Fu stepped back. The figure rushed at him once more. Fu would catch the blade again before kicking him back. He would weave hand signs with one hand. Fire style! Great fireball jutsu! He would shout. He would spew fire upon the grayscale clone, setting him ablaze once more. Despite this, his mirror image didn't seem to panic. It only just stood there, its body slowly turning to ash. What are you? Where did you come from? Have you ever experienced what it's like to die? Then to die again? Every time losing another piece of yourself. Waking up again, but everything is different. No, you're different. You feel the same, but you can tell you're not the same. And then being subject to death only to resurrect again and again and again. Eventually, what's left of you is only what the master needs. The master? Fu asked. Who is this master you speak of? Where did you come from? The monochrome Fu stood there, his body now unrecognizable from the burns. His voice unrecognizable from the heat boiling the vocal cords. You've met him once before, though you don't remember. You'll meet him again soon, I am certain of it. Until then, wait patiently. His experiment with you isn't over yet. The mirror Fu that stood before him then turned to dust, blowing away with the wind. Fu was 3 seconds from a panic attack. He stepped back. He felt as though 1,000 eyes were upon him. He felt as though darkness was creeping up. He needed to get out of there. Eren watched over Menma as Menma entered the mindscape of his brother. Menma rushed forward. There he saw Naruto locked up in a cage. Before him stood the massive specter of the Ninetales. It laughed at him, sure that there was nothing that could save them now. That was until a light filled Menma. On the outside, Eren looked over to see Fu, his hand pressed forward, a light coming from it. Within, suddenly the specters of Kushina and Minato appeared. Menma looked back and saw them. "Mom! Dad!" They both looked down at him with a smile. Minato spoke. "Your mother and I will handle the Ninetales. Get to your brother. Wake him up and use this seal to recapture the beast." Minato placed a seal formula upon Menma's hand. Minato and Kushina then rushed forward. Minato led off with a big ball Rasengan to stun the Ninetales, as Kushina launched adamantine chains from her body to bind the beast. Menma ran to the cage and ripped the seal off of it. As the gate opened, he found Naruto laying inside, unresponsive. "Naruto!" he called out as he held him up. The sound of explosions and war from outside could be heard. Kurama would turn its head to see Menma. It prepared a tailed beast ball and fired it at them. It was then that Minato appeared, using his flying Raijin Jutsu to teleport them away from the blast zone. Menma looked up in awe, getting to experience the flying Raijin Jutsu his father was so proficient in. Minato smiled. "He'll figure it out too. I just know it. Now hurry, seal the beast." Menma would lift Naruto's shirt to show the ruined seal. Placing his hand upon it, the seal began to mend and close. New chains appeared from the cage, wrapping around the Ninetales. "No! No!" Kurama shouted as he lashed out and fought, trying desperately to claw Menma and Naruto out of his existence. "I'd rather die than go back!" Kurama shouted as he tried one last time to stab Menma and Naruto to death, but it was in vain, as once more Kushina and Minato caught the claw. This was nothing new to them, nor was it anything sad. They were still dead after all. "Mom, Dad," Menma said. "You've had a big day," Kushina replied. "You passed an exam to catch up. You're well on your way to becoming a grand shinobi." "I know you'll pass the next test too," Minato said. "You'll both grow up into shinobi that surpass even us." Menma felt tears coming to his eyes, and a moment later, Kurama was sealed, and they were both pulled out of the mindscape. Naruto would be brought to the hospital to recover. Though there had been injuries, nobody perished in this fight thanks to Menma's quick work. And when the time finally came that Naruto and Menma should graduate, Naruto's shadow clones were plenty enough to impress the proctors. But what astounded them even more was Menma's ability to properly utilize the flying Raijin Jutsu. "How did you learn that?" they asked him. His only response was, "My dad taught me." And that was the beginning of their career as shinobi. But though this story was coming to an end, another was just beginning. Eren and Fu made it back to the laboratory. There, Fu sat down in his chair. Eren stood there and spoke. "I thought the point of an experiment wasn't to interfere. Why did you jump into it like that? Why didn't you just cut your losses?" "I needed to know who was doing this," Fu said. "Did you figure out who was behind it?" Eren asked. Fu was silent, his face resting in his hands. Eren had never seen someone as powerful as Fu so terrified. "Are you okay?" he asked. Fu was silent a moment longer before speaking. "No." A moment later, Madara walked into the room. "Am I interrupting something?" he asked. Fu took a deep breath and pulled himself together. "No, good buddy," he said, faking his way back into a jovial mood. "What's up?" Madara then spoke. "I found this while I was headed over here. It's a package for you." Fu was confused. Madara gave him the box. When he opened it up, there was a Cadbury chocolate egg inside. "Where did you get this?" Fu asked. "In the closet in hallway 8C. Fu looked up at Madara with surprise. Madara's brow lowered in concern. "Why?" "There is no hallway 8C. He looked down at the box and found a letter. The letter said, "Thank you for assisting me in this experiment. For a reward, I offer you this chocolate egg. Sadly, it won't birth a new universe or a mystical bird that you would no doubt attempt to absorb again. That said, I hope you will absorb this egg and find enjoyment in the taste. Hopefully this one won't kill you. I'll see you soon."